So I got a request to explain the guitar stuff that I'm doing on this song, Slippery Slope. So I'm going to play it first and then I'll tell you all about it. At the place where this footpath comes down to the river. That's actually the best chord that I was changing the screen on, so let me play that right. At the place where this footpath comes down to the river, there's a swift flowing waterway, chilly and clear. I can wait if I'm careful, but the creek bed is slippery, and it taught me a lesson the last time I was here. I was facing this crossing like a challenge to conquer. All I saw was an obstacle blocking my way. And when I rushed to get past it, that slate was so slippery that I fell in the current and got carried away. Take my time in this moment, ripe with choice, full of hope. Just before I step out on that slippery slope. Now I face this same river with a chance to start over, and the water is swirling around where I stand. But my goal is to balance and let go of frustration, as if my destination is to be where I am. Take my time in this moment, ripe with choice, full of hope. Just before I step out on that slippery slope. Now my map shows where I plan on camping, but my next step is my one concern. To put myself right where I'm standing is the lesson I'm trying to learn. Take my time in this moment, ripe with choice, full of hope. Just before I step out on that slippery slope. So, to tell you all about how to play this, I'm going to switch to the little GoPro view, and I'll start by telling you about the tuning. If there were no capos on this guitar, it would be A, G, D, G, C, D. Just so I can sing it in a range I like, I have a capo on the 2nd fret, which is effectively just raising the bass string because there's another capo above it. And the capo above it does not fret the bass string. So, it winds up being played in the key of B. And the one chord in this configuration is this thing. So as you see my fingers moving and you hear the note that happens, you know I'm fretting 3 strings, the A string, the D string, and the high E string. I'm calling them the original names as if it were in regular guitar tuning. So that's the 1 chord. And the 3 chord, that is the song that I'm in, the chord that's built on the 3rd note of the scale. I'm fretting the bass string behind the capo. That's why I kind of carve out these capos. Originally, when the capo comes to you from, Kaiser, it just looks like this. But what I like to do is kind of carve them out so that there's room to reach behind it. So now it looks like this. And when I carve that out, I used to just do it with a file. Now I do it with a Dremel tool. Thanks, Bill. And so that just makes it easier to reach around. So, 1st chord of the song here, 2nd chord here, the 3rd chord. I'm using different terminology. When I say the 2nd chord of the song, I say the chord that you play 2nd in the song. But I also use these other phrases like a 3 chord, which I'm using to mean the chord degree, where it is in the scale. Sorry if that's confusing, but all of these terms you can Google and then you'll know it for the rest of your life. So, at the place where this footpath comes down to the river, there's a swift flowing waterway, chilly and clear. Now what I did just there was the 1 chord and then the 3 chord. I'm only fretting 3 strings. And then the 4 chord. And then the 5 chord, which I'm playing with a sus. Yeah, so that happens twice. There's the verse kind of repeats. Challenge to conquer. All I saw was an obstacle blocking my way. And when I rushed to get past it, that slate was so slippery that I fell in the current and got carried away. Now the chorus. Take my time, 4 chord. In this moment, ripe with choice, full of hope. Ooh, that's a pretty chord. That is what that's the 6th chord. In other words, that's the chord that is built on the 6th note of the scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is this beautiful minor chord. Again, I'm fretting only 3 strings. And the coolest, the part for me that was interesting to play was this. So that last part of the chorus, before a 2 chord, before I stepped out. So on the word out, you play the 3 chord again. Before I step out on that slippery. So on the word that, I'm hammering on this to get to the 5 chord. Before I step out on that slippery slope. So because I need to have this, that little transition note, I'm going to do that super slow so you can see what's going on. I guess I'm lifting the other fingers. Before I step out on that slippery. Yeah, so you have lots of time to get to this 5 chord and jump back over the capo. Why would you ever have to jump back and forth over the capo, Dave? Well, it's the simplest way to play the song. I mean, I've tried it in all different tunings, even regular tuning, but it's actually simpler like this. And you get these gorgeous voicings. You get higher notes and lower notes in the same kind of voicing than you could possibly get in regular tuning. So, to me, it just sustains my soul. Let's play the bridge. The map shows where I plan on camping. Now, these two chords, this is kind of like the chord built on the sharp 5 of the scale. And now I'm fretting every single note, every single string on the guitar. I'm making a bar. I'm doing basically the 5th string and the 1, 2, 3 with the bar, and then I'm going. Map shows where I plan on camping. Now I'm fretting 3 strings, 1 fret above the top capo with the pinky, but I'm leaving the B string open behind the pinky. If your pinky doesn't bend like that, it's impossible. But the thing about this chord is, if I wanted to play every string on the guitar, I'd have to do this. But that's impossible, so I just don't play the last string. You can either dampen it with the pinky of your right hand and strum through, or you can actually just strum through but don't hit the last string. Just rest on the last string. My finger is now resting on the high E string so it can't play. Because if it did, it would... That's not right. So, map shows where I plan on camping, but my next step, 4 chord, my next step is my one concern. Back to the 1 chord. And now, to put myself. Oh, there it is. We're back to the 6th chord. Map shows where I plan on camping, but my next step is my one concern, to put myself. Oh, it's a minor 6. Okay. To put myself right where. I'm making it much harder than it has to be because I'm confusing it with this bar chord of the sharp 5. But this, I'm only fretting 3 strings. That 6 chord again. Map shows where I plan on camping, but my next step is my one concern, to put, Dave, it's a minor, to put myself right where I'm standing. It's the lesson I'm trying to learn. Now this is just holding a 5 chord, but walking up that A string like this. I wonder if I can get it so you can see it. And then back to the chorus. Take my time in this moment. A little sus on that 1 chord. Ripe with choice, 5, sus. Full of hope, 6 minor. Just before I step out on that slippery slope. Just before I step out on that slippery slope. So I think the trickiest chord in the song is probably the major chord built on the sharp 5. And then just remembering that when you make the next chord, which is probably a major chord built on the minor 3rd of the scale. I plan on camping. That's probably the tricky part. And dampening the high E string so that you don't accidentally do that. Yeah, that's all there is. It's a simple song because it's not about trying to do something great. It's a song about being grounded in the moment. I go back to the big camera. So I hope that serves. Let me know if there's other songs you're trying to figure out, because, you know, the golden rule of open tuning guitar stuff is if it's difficult, you must be doing it wrong. That's why people do these all these open tunings, because it's, you know, fret a couple strings, sounds great. That's all. Thank you much. End live video. Thanks, y'all.